Frodo is a full-grown adult in Lord of the Rings and holds onto the ring for several years. Peeves isn't shown at all in the Harry Potter films. Movies get things wrong all the time. Adaptations are tricky business, and the new It movies are no exception. No one in the cast is exactly like their character in the novel, but the biggest changes will surely surprise you. Being the only girl in your group automatically sets you apart. Beverly Marsh is dealing with the attention of the Losers Club almost immediately in the movie. Every boy in the group thinks that she's pretty. However, that whole concept, it's a bit different in the book. These young teenage boys aren't super attracted to Beverly in the novel. Well, I mean, let's be real, Stephen King doesn't really focus on it all that much until that sewer moment in the book. The movie nails the childhood description of Beverly well enough. Her auburn hair is shoulder length and she's dotted with freckles. There's, other details that King focused on that the film smartly avoids here. It's Jessica Chastain's adult counterpart, though, that seems to miss the mark. Her version of Beverly keeps her hair short and her freckles are gone. The job and the terrible husband are the same in the book and the movie, but even he doesn't look quite the same. The book version of Bev's husband is a lot like the mom's boyfriend in Cat in the Hat. So, in other words, he's more that meme and less of the creepy, clingy mass of hate that we see in the movie. You guys, we can't do this entry without talking about the ABC movie version of Bill Denby. I mean, look at the gorgeous locks. That's real style right there. However, none of it's correct. Now, the new movie is just as wrong, so don't give them props just yet. James McAvoy is a great actor and fits the role well. There's just a lot of issues with the original childhood casting. Billy is supposed to have red hair and blue eyes. Now, the casting choice is still excellent, and the sacrifice of look for acting talent, it's very understandable. Bill is seen as slender but firm and the clear leader of the group by appearance alone. That being said, there is a vast difference in the second chapter. Everyone knows Bill is bald as an adult. It's a way for Stephen King to make it appear as if Bill isn't meant to be his stand-in. Why not make McAvoy bald? Audiences are used to it already. It's not like the film would see an obscene number of Professor X references if they did make that choice. Waste of an excellent bald cap if you ask us. Finn Wolfhard was far too cool to go full Richie. In the books, the trash mouth is even more of a dork. We love what the film did with the character because it's believable that Richie is an outcast. However, his rough edges are smoothed to a point. The big buck teeth and smashed mouth are not present in the film. Richie's called trash mouth for multiple reasons. One of which is the fact that he keeps getting punched in his mouth, so his teeth are all messed up. Oh, also, his glasses are supposed to be in disrepair. Come on, Warner Brothers, that's just lazy prop work. We get not giving Finn or even Bill Hader bad teeth, but at least make the glasses less than perfect, yeah? Richie isn't described a whole lot in the book, so making him Bill Hader works on a few levels. The problem comes in his fame and job. In the novel, Richie works as a radio host that does a ton of impressions. Transforming him into a comedian isn't a huge step away from that, but you couldn't, make him a podcast host or something? I mean, don't pretend like Richie's too lame to be popular. That's the exact kid in middle school who gets attention and a moderate following on his lame YouTube vlog. Henry Bowers is all 1950s bully without the look. The movie changes the decade that the children grew up in, and that forces the bully Bowers to change too, which, when you look at it, was the right move in the end. The new concept fits the mean guy that we see. In the novel, Bowers is much more of a greaser. However, if you're picturing cool greaser-style jackets, think again. This dude rocks a pink leather jacket with a huge eagle patch sewn on the back. Yikes, my guy, that is not a look you want to show off to your buddies. If Henry wasn't such a sizable, intimidating presence, the look would not work. Instead, the film goes for the mullet look. The weird part is Henry in the present day still rocks the same mullet. His character cannot catch a break when it comes to style. What goes undiscussed in the film is Henry's connection to his father. Both the Bowers end up struggling with the stability of their mind. Perhaps Mr. Bowers is equally influenced by it earlier on in his life as well. It's hard to say, but the film does do a good job of sticking to the new look in the second part while still keeping Henry larger than average. Apologies to all those hoping that we'd skip this mad clown. It was inevitable. You can't talk about it without talking about Pennywise. This is one monster that a horror movie does its best to get right. Still, some parts of the ending were better changed. Sorry about it, Bill. In the novel, it was a space god that shares its energy with a magic turtle. Yeah, that happens. We're not kidding. The film actually alludes more to his origins and shows the creature falling from the sky. It's something that we all thought would go unsaid, but the writers were apparently feeling pretty bold. What's even better is the film doesn't limit it to just Pennywise like the miniseries. All the other forms of the monster are present, and even a few more new ones are sprinkled in. The ending is where things get screwy. The giant spider monster is replaced with whatever that thing is. We think it's a praying mantis with a clown face, but no one really knows. Maybe going with the book monster wasn't a bad idea here. I mean, watching a clown shrink down into a deflated balloon is a little off-putting, and not in the proper scary way. However, the dialogue and change in lore, it's great. It's the slight tweaks to Pennywise's end look that doesn't fit, though. The whole joke about terrible endings, it's just a bit too meta in this movie, and a big part of it has to do with that weird tiny it that we see in the climax. I mean, he honestly looks like a melted pile of ice cream. One nice part of the 2017 film is its ability to show Stan's OCD without feeling the need to call it out. They don't beat the concept into your head. Stan is who he is, and the movie doesn't pat itself on the back for the honest representation. Even better, they don't make insensitive jokes and commentary about Stan being Jewish. However, the brief time adult Stan spends on screen in It Chapter 2, it's underwhelming. The book gives us way more about the character than we receive in his 2 minutes of fame. We know he's married and living the simple life. However, the writers missed the chance to show what ails him. In the novel, Stan is given simple features. They have given him that modern, homely appearance, but miss out on his black hair. Well, correction, child Stan has brown hair, but the adult version apparently watches it darken with age. On top of this error, the novel describes the trouble Stan has giving his wife a child. We get a sense in the movie that Stan doesn't feel like a man, but the issue's never addressed. And the appearance of their marriage doesn't reflect that tension. When Owen Teague was announced as Patrick Hockstetter, some fans were surprised. It's okay if you were one of them. We agree, he'd make a great Victor Criss based on appearance alone. Patrick, though, is supposed to be lumpy and a bit overweight. His face is supposed to be moon-shaped and looks as if it's made of cheap clay. This movie version doesn't fit that description. On top of that, Patrick isn't even in the second part of the book. He's not the friend that appears to Henry Bowers as a zombified It creation. Patrick does make an appearance to scare Eddy at one point, but only in a limited way. We're not sure why the film felt the need to dive into this character more. What's even odder is the way that it normalizes Patrick's mental illness. He's not a lively character in the book. He collects dead flies and shows them to people, and that's the most innocent thing that he pulls off in that novel. Trust us, we're censoring ourselves here. The Patrick that audiences see is toned down and turned into a PG-13 version of Sid from Toy Story. Mike gets the Batman treatment in this version of it. Sorry, Bruce, the joke was a bit rude, we'll admit. However, it should be noted that Mike's parents are alive in the novel. He works for him, and it's his job that connects him to the Losers Club. In the book, Mike is described as fast and slim, and we get that notion from the character's appearance in the new movies, but there's a problem. Mike is basically a footnote in that first film. He doesn't get enough lines or character development. Suddenly, he's this tremendous character, but it feels like the rest of the group barely noticed him to begin with, sadly. Mike is the reason that it gets defeated, but all his research and efforts are heavily glossed over in this movie. It's unfortunate that in a 2-hour and 50-minute runtime, the writers still leave him out. The adult appearance is close to accurate, but his role isn't what it's supposed to look like at all. Ben's appearance is close to accurate, but a bit off in Chapter 2. For starters, Ben is supposed to be a bit more overweight and taller as a child. Second, the child actor and the adult actor, they do not look alike. Yeah, Ben does lose the weight and gets a bit more tan, but it's just too much of a difference between the two. On top of that, Ben has graying hair as an adult. It gives him that Reed Richards look that actually adds to his attractiveness. But it isn't apparent in his movie version. Also, he lives in Omaha, Nebraska in the book. Look at that house. Look at his style. That man isn't anywhere close to a Nebraska lifestyle. The writers want to modernize the characters, but the change here is no longer believable. The movie even tries to pull the old switcheroo on the character expectations, but it doesn't work. The random worker that we think is Ben originally is actually plausible. The guy who turns out to be Ben is an Abercrombie & Fitch model. It's so past the point of belief that it takes you out of the movie. Eddy is probably the truest book crossover in the movie. He's a bit more average looking than fans were expecting, but he's got the thin and short look down. You believe Eddy might blow over in the wind and that he's fragile. The casting director does a great job at making him appear like his younger self. James Ranson acts and looks like a grown-up Jack Dylan Grazer. Even adult Eddy feels a bit like a stick. The thin face and short body remain a feature, and he's got that concerned dad look going on. Even the changes to the character are for the better. The book, Eddy owns a successful limousine company that works with high-end clients. The idea of Eddy as a risk assessment manager is perfect. No job fits that man as perfectly. Not to mention the whole marrying his mother thing. We think he is a well-done recreation considering the potential pitfalls. Some of these changes are just wild, but hopefully they make you want to go back and revisit the book. It's a great way to find some of the ways that the cast changed the characters that we didn't get to talk about here. In the meantime, check us out by liking this video and subscribing to The Binger. It's the best way to keep in the loop and see all the new content that we release daily.